Kenneth Lee. I am the head teacher and site coordinator at the BASE program, which stands for the Brian Alston After School Enrichment Program.
Today we're going to work on trebuchets. What is a trebuchet?
I think everybody, including the instructor, always starts out as a student.
Where does the weight go?
I remember when I first opened up, the curriculum for trebuchets, I didn't know what a trebuchet was. I worked the project out just as a student.
Kind of like a catapult. It's heavier on one side. The heavier side will fall, causing to throw projectiles somewhere.
What is a projectile? Rocks. Long time ago, they used to have giant walls and castles and things like that, right? Forts. And they would have armies march over and they have to break in. They built these large trebuchet and they would lob giant rocks and break down the walls. And when the walls break, they could go in and take over, right? So this is a form of trebuchet. You have this point here. We call this the fulcrum. That's the middle point. That's where you're balancing stuff. That's one of the things when you make your own trebuchet, remember, you need to find a good point for where your fulcrum is going to be. What else is going to be very, very important about the trebuchet? John?
The weight.
The weight. So the weight is going to be put on one of the other ends, right? So the big W, that's your weight. We have weight, we have our fulcrum,
to fire it.
and some place to fire it. So some place to load the projectile, right? Yeah. So this is where we're going to put our loading. I'm going to give you about 15 to 20 minutes to get a working trebuchet, meaning it should be the counterweight, the weight should be used, you should make paper balls, and you should be able to launch them somewhere, okay? So we're going to use the cups here. That's going to be where you're going to put we're only going to fire paper balls, people, all right? So the weight, we're going to use nails, okay? This thick dowel, thick wooden dowel, this is going to be your fulcrum, okay? We have yardsticks. The yardsticks is going to be basically your trebuchet, okay?
How do we do that then?
We could just tape it together or binder hook it together then.
Maybe there should be longer on this side.
Working trebuchet.
Inquiry is pretty important in the discovery and exploration of an activity because the students, they need to learn and discover things, and you don't want to give them an answer.
Why did you decide to tape your dowel onto the water bottles?
Because on this picture, right here, it's all stable.
Right.
So we need to make it at least about the same. So we need to make it stabilized too.
Okay, so what is your fulcrum? What is this section here?
This section is
This
right
part
here.
is going to do the turning for you. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to do turning.
If they ask you a question, most of the time, you're expected to give an answer. I mean, because you're the teacher, you're the adult. But a lot of times, if you throw it back at them, they will really consider it. And it gives them different roads to try.
It's better to have this on the top or the bottom, because I'm curious to find that out myself.
Everyone has right idea. There's no wrong way of doing things, okay? That's what we are doing here. I'm Madeline Wan. I'm the BASE coordinator. Basically, I run the program, and I'm sort of the liaison person between the Boston Public School and the student in my program, because a lot of parents do not speak English. If you're stuck, you come and ask me, and I will explain to you in Chinese. All right? Majority of our students are either immigrants or children of immigrants. So we try to help them with the language skill. We have 24 students. The age is from 6 to 14 years old. So you try to plan curriculum that's very flexible, where everyone can participate in it.
No, wait. Yeah, that one. Okay. No, it's a
I do think that for different age groups, they view the project differently. I can see a 6-year-old work on a trebuchet for the simple enjoyment of launching something, but somewhere through the line when they see something similar like a seesaw or a scale, hopefully it'll click and say, hey, we've done something like that before. And it's something to do with balancing weights and getting the lever to move.
2, 3. No improvement. The last time it was better.
For the older kids, I think that hopefully it's something that could supplement what they've learned already in school.
Yeah, make a mark. Right here? Like right there? Here? Yeah. Okay. Where's the tape person? I made a mark, okay? Over there.
I want to gather people over to take a look at some of the other trebuchets. Let's see if your designs are similar or a little different.
When working on certain activities, it's usually a good idea to stop the students from what they're doing and bring them back collectively.
Let's take a look at this one. Did you use all the weight? Whose is this one? Any predictions? Judy?
I didn't go past 9 feet.
This one will also go past 9 feet. Michelle?
I think I'll go a little bit less than 9 feet.
Why do you think less? How do you see it as different?
Instead of like how everyone else was, they decided to put two together, so probably wouldn't be as flexible as others.
Okay. So we have a couple of predictions that say it won't go as far as the other ones. Watch out. And it didn't. So about 7 feet.
If you bring them together and you can share ideas, that's one way where everybody can catch up quickly. And, they can see what other, things can be done.
A long time ago, they're able to change the way the trebuchets launch just by adding or taking away weight. So I have marked off the floor. This point here is 1 to 3, all right? Another point is 3 to 5, 5 to 7, and 7 to 9. I want you to keep track, because we gave you these data sheets here. Keep track of the amount of nails you're going to put. And then launch it. Find out where it lands. Does it land between 1 and 3? Does it land between 5 and 7? If you launched it again with the same weight, would it still land in between those points? Later on, if I pull everybody together and I say, let's have you try to hit between 3 and 5, you should be able to change the weight. You know exactly what weight it is. Launch it and it should land at that point.
Landing between 3 and 5, so how we get it between 5 and 7?
Maybe halfway.
So launch it halfway. Let's do it.
After school is fun because to me, like, you go home and you finish your homework. You have nothing else to do but sit there and just kind of like kill the time, kind of. And you come to after school, you can talk to people and you can play games also. At home, if you need help, your parents can't figure it out all the time because sometimes they need to go to work or something. And after school, you have people like Mr. Lee and Miss Swan to help you out.
8, 9, and 7. What does that mean?
8,
Yeah.
9, then 7.
Okay.
The first one was 8, and then it was 9, and then it was 7.
Okay. So, but they're landing at different points, though. Why is that? That means one of your variables is getting mixed up. It's not just the weight anymore, right? So you got to find a way to isolate all the variables, and just the weight is the thing that changes. So how else?
When Mrs. Swan or Mr. Lee came by, they would either question us about something, and we will try to answer them, and we'll think it over and think about our answer, and we'll see if we could change it somehow so we can make it better.
Pretty much right here, right at 9. Not bad. So at 60 nails, it lands right around 9.
Because we're an after-school program, there are no exams, there's no tests, no quizzes, things like that. So how do you actually assess a student? What do they know? What have they learned?
What do you think will happen just by looking at their trebuchet?
The last discussion when we bring them back, that's definitely one way where we could find out what have you learned. If we have another type curriculum where they explore things, they can use similar skills, how to manipulate the material, how is weight going to affect it at this rate, how to isolate a variable. Those are ways to assess their learning.
Trebuchet number 1 is going to use 60 nails to try to hit between 7 and 9, right? Let's see what happens. 7 and 9 right here, excellent. All right, let's look at trebuchet number 4. You're trying to hit between 7 and 9. Oh, overshot it. You have to check your notes again. Some of you did not get exactly the results you were looking for, right? So probably somewhere along the way, one of your variables was changing things. It wasn't just the weight. Is there a difference between how many nails you use and the distance that you're going to try to hit?
The heavier the weight is, the further the load will go.
Okay, the heavier the weight, the further the load will go.
I don't think what she says, right? Like, the heavier is the farther. Because if your fulcrums are all the way down here and your trebuchet's right here, you can have like a bunch of nails and you could just let go and it'll just go like that and nothing will happen.
Okay. So next time, I think what we'll do is we'll work on the fulcrum. That means we have to make the weight exactly the same, right? But that's next time.